Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Deborah, aka the Sunset Girls Creates, and today we're going to have our Wednesday come silhouette with me. So we are doing silhouette, and what we're working on today is our 3D Mourners hat. And so I did most of these because it's like time consuming to do this first part. So I figured it would be good to get the first sections on, and then once we have that, then we can move on to building the rest. So I have this one and one more, and what I'm doing is, and I'm doing this with tape because the double-sided tape, because I can adjust. And I'm trying to get my lines lined up, because if you don't line these lines just right, it won't come together properly. And then once I get it into place, I put it down and give it a nice rub. And I just knocked it out of place. So let me carefully remove it. Okay. It's got to come all the way off because the whole thing twisted. Okay, let's see. We want it to go there, and we want it to come line up right there. And once we've got it lined up nicely, we put it in nice and tight. Make sure that this bends out, because our hat's going to bend like this. And we're going to come around and put it together, and these will come together here. We've got one more to do. It kind of slipped off the table. So let's go ahead, and I go ahead and bend that middle so I have a nice bend in it, because I'm going to need a nice bend when I get ready to put the next part together. Okay, so we've got to get these bottom sections together, and then we'll put the top section together. It's a two-part endeavor. Let's get us lined up on our line as close as we can, and then come in here, and here we go. There we go. Okay, so now we've got that section done. So we continued that. So they're completely joined, and they're not, the top is not. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to return to the first pair I did, okay? So that means I'm going to come all the way back to this one here. And I'm going to bend the top portions so they line up, okay? I want to make sure that they're going to line up when I pull it up. So I'm going to pull it up, and it's just going to, I'm going to line it up just like I did the first half, okay? So now that I know it's going to line up just fine and I don't have to make adjustments, I'm going to lay this out like this and put it over here so I can put tape on here, okay? So I'm now going to take this piece, this tab, and if you need to, you can move them all out of your way. It doesn't necessarily just have to be the one you're working on. And I've got one last. I put it across the whole tab, the tape. That way I know I get a nice secure connection, okay? So the big point of it is being able to make sure that our connection goes together properly. So I'm going to make sure it's all completely lined up as I come up, and I'm just going to pull it together here, and then I'm going to just make sure I get a nice tight seal on my tape, okay? And so now I'm just going to repeat this process all the way across. And so why I do this part, we're just going to continue to go. I don't have any reason. This part is just, we can chit chat as we go. Talking a little bit about Silhouette and some of the things I have here. So some of the tools that I use when I'm working with my Silhouette. I like to use my super glue you saw. And we've used that on some of them. My favorite is my tape gun. So this is just regular double-sided tape. You can get it at any craft store. Okay, and it's the advanced tape glider gun. Okay, so we're going to start making, it's going to start rounding out as we go. So it's going to be kind of a little bit difficult, but I'm going to do my best to keep it all on camera to my best of my ability. And just be careful, because now we're starting to get that nice curvature to it. We don't want to lose our curvature, so we just want to be careful when we're putting our tape down that we're not losing our curvature that we've already started building, because that curvature is going to be very important when we get to the next phase. And that's going to be securing the hat to the brim. So we want to make sure that when we're ready to secure our hat to the brim, that we're good to go, right? We make sure everything lines up, everything's been lined up properly. So when we put it together, it's going to come together seamlessly, okay? So that's the goal, is to make it so we come together seamlessly. And we're going to continue to put some tape on here and get the rest of these done. So let's quickly, I'm trying to find the best way to do this to try to keep it in camera as I'm working on this section. Bear with me, I'm doing my best on camera work for this. I will be working to see if there's better ways to adjust my camera in here when we're doing like silhouette work, so that we can get a really nice video from that. So now see how we've got a nice curvature going through it. We've got it all nice lined up pretty. We've got 3 more to go. And then the next part comes. Now you got to start really being careful as your curvature really starts building on this. I thought when I was first putting the tape down that I thought maybe I might put it across both tabs. That just makes it easier. But then I didn't want the tabs sticking as I was putting the bottoms together. So I figured we'd go ahead and do it this way. Make sure we get a nice tight straight fit on here. Okay, make sure it lines up. The second half to line up is much easier to line up the second half than it is the first half, because that's the first half. That's the half you really got to make sure that you get a nice secure fit. Okay, you want to make sure that it fits tight and that it fits secure, okay? Because if it doesn't, your piece is going to come apart. Remember, it's only paper, and it's only being held together by whatever you connect it with. So if you connect it with double-sided tape and you don't do it very well and you don't get it lined up right, it might not come out correctly, okay? Now see, I have a little tape out here. I'm just going to rub that off when I'm done, okay? That can just rub off. Okay, let me grab a quick drink real quick. My mouth is getting dry. Okay, last one. Let's see if I can get this to hold for just 1 second while we put our tape on. we'll come back and catch that spot we missed. I just like to make sure there's a nice strong coverage of tape, okay? I will put more tape on that's needed than not enough, okay? Because to me, I'd rather have more tape on it and get a nice good seal than to not have enough tape at all, okay? So I have 2 spots that were over, and on this double-sided tape, all you really have to do is just slide your finger along and it's gonna ball up and come right off, okay? And then you don't have any more double-sided tape. It's much nicer than if you put glue on here and then you're trying to get the glue off of what you're looking at. It's much nicer. Okay, so now we've got our hat together, and I'm just kind of making sure that we've got the next part. Okay, so we're going to bring the crown panel into the tube shape here. Bringing the lower edge to overlap the opposite tab perforation. Okay, that's what I thought. So we're going to put it on our bottom one first, just like we did the first time, and then we'll come back and put it on the second one, okay? I am going to put my tape across both tabs on this one for the simple fact, and I gotta get that out of the way real quick, is I don't want to have to try to do this when I have the hat half assembled, okay? So we want to make sure that we're capturing our tabs really good, making sure we have a good amount of tape on them. So we're going to make sure both tabs have the tape, okay? It's missing up there. And then we can come down one more time and let's get a nice tight, okay, this one's extra long. And for some reason, this spot right here does not want to keep the glue. So all you have to do is put your finger through it and it'll clear it back up, okay? So it's not that, this double-sided tape is really forgivable on a lot of ways, okay? So you can do a lot of things to fix your tape and make sure it's good. So now we're gonna come around on our bottom first, okay? We're gonna line these up so that we make sure, just like we lined up the other ones, make sure that all of our things match up perfectly, because if we don't have a nice perfect seal, the hat will not come together properly, okay? So you need to make sure and do the same thing. So now we're going to pull and do our last section. Remember, we still have to do this one here. So now we've got the top part of our hat all done, okay? So now we're looking at the hat shape. We've got a nice round pretty hat shape, right? This is not down tight enough. So make sure, go back and make sure all of your seals are good and everything's in nice, okay? So once we get all of that put back together, we're now going to fold down all of our tabs here, and we're going to do this all the way around. Okay, so all of our tabs have to be in because we're going to put the top of the top hat on. And so I'm not going to be using tape on this section. This section is actually going to be glue. And where did my glue go? Hold on a minute, I gotta go get some glue. I'll be right back. Okay, so now we've got the glue, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking and putting this on here, okay? So we're going to want to make sure that they all line up nicely right here, and we'll go around, okay? So I'm going to start by putting glue on this tab here so that I can get my first initial set, and I want to make sure I get it lined up just right. So this is the most important part, is to get this lined up right at the top. Okay, so now we've got it lined up at the top. I'm going to flip it over so that I can make sure that I put and secure it, right? Make sure that there's a nice tight seal on that tab, okay? So I'm just putting my hand inside on the tab, was all I was doing. So now we're going to secure it down onto our next tabs. So I'm going to put some glue on this tab, and I'm only doing it one tab at a time because this super glue does dry fast. And so because it dries so fast, I don't want to have it dry while we're working on the next side. So now it's going to be trying to make sure that we can get it lined up and on there. So let me put my hand here so I can support it on the back side. And I'm trying to get it in a place where I can support it but yet push it down at the same time. Here we go. Here we go. Oops. See, and this is what happens. Sometimes these ones can be a little difficult to put together. So I'm going to put it down on its bottom half so that I can maybe line it up a little bit better. I'm not sure. Let's see. It's already secured down. Okay, so we're going to have to leave it there. So let me put a little bit of glue right here so it will lay flat on there. Okay. So it's off just a tad on our angle, which might hurt us, but we're going to see if we can adjust it up on the rest of it. Okay, so we're going to pull this one in, and once we get this next one secured, we'll pretty much be able to do the rest all at one time, okay? I'm just trying to make sure that I can get it lined up, and I can't. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this off. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I went ahead and went off camera and put the whole top on, only because it was like really hard to get on and I had to manipulate it. So I wanted to make sure that when I manipulated it, I didn't manipulate it in the wrong way. Okay, so once you have the crown on, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this on. So we have two sides of it, two sections. And what it is we're going to be putting these out like this and around. So what it's going to do, okay, I had somehow got glue on that. We're going to be connecting all of these to that. So what I'm going to do, the best way to do this is I'm going to pull this back off, and I'll show you why. Actually, let me see if I can move it down just a bit. If we can move it down just a bit, it'll give us some room to put our tape gun in, and then we'll just pop it back up, okay? Because that's basically what it's meant to do, is to go around this whole bottom part anyhow. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this down, and I'm going to put my tape on each one of these tabs. Do my best. Let me make sure I don't have anything else stuck to it that we might need in the future. Let's just move our pieces off to the side so we have a nice area to work in. I will bring these back shortly. These are just the rest of the fun things. Oh yes, I de-kitted as well, and so you still see my de-kitting mess. Thank you, sorry. Okay, so now I've got to figure out the best way to get tape on here without, and taking this off is going to be our best bet. So let's just pop these back in just like that and pull this off. Okay, it's been a couple years since I put one of these together, so that's why it is taking a little bit of remembering and ingenuity as I go to remember how they go together. We're almost done with the main hat part itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these back out and then we'll fold them back in and put that back on. Because that will give us the ability to just kind of go through here and pop some tape down. Maybe. On here, I want to get some tape on each one of these. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not working right. Hold on, let's fix our machine. Somehow it got loose. So let's do, let me just tighten it real super quick. So it's real easy to tighten. All you have to do is spin here. Make sure that's down right. Okay. Oops. We just want to make sure this gets pulled back over this. Let's loosen that just a tad. Pull this around. Pull this one around. Thank you. There, now we got it on right. And now let's tighten. There we go. Now we're good. Is that clipped in? It looks like it. Oh, that's probably the problem, is that's not staying down. Okay. Now we fixed the issue. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work now. Okay. I don't think this is going to work. We're going to have to do, I think, super glue on this and just do one tab at a time is going to be our best bet. Tape is not going to, just trying to run the tape runner around it is not working. So I'm going to put this back on, and all we're going to do is make sure all our tabs are here, and I just want it so it's up here at the very edge, okay? We're going to choose one to work with first. And so I think I'm going to choose this tab right here. And all I'm going to do is make sure this tab is pointed down when I put the glue on it, so that when I bring it back up and into place, I have control of it and I can ensure that we're not missing anything. Okay? So first thing I'm going to do is make sure this is right at the line where it's supposed to be. And then I'm just going to pop this over, right? And if I line it up beforehand, I'm not going to have an issue, right? It's a matter of making sure you get things lined up properly the first time. So I'm going to go opposite, kind of like you do when you put a tire on your car, because it'll give it a nice tight fit that way. It's kind of the same principle of putting your bolts back on, right? Your nuts that go on the bolts, right? And you just do it opposite, right? The reason you do that is because it lets it pull in at each section, and then it's nicely done. I've got so much super glue on this thumb right now that I can't even get my iPhone to release. Is that funny or what? So my fingerprint pad's not working too well right now. I want to put that under that one. And the reason that I'm putting these under, okay, it's not going to go under that one. So basically we just want to get some glue on here, right? Just like we're doing all the others. Line it up on our line and pop it, right? And that's all it really takes. And then we're going to go to this last edge of the square, basically is what we're doing. And then we'll come back and do the edges, right? The corners. So let's put this glue on. And we're lined up, and here we go. So now we're lined up. So it's really just putting the glue on. And I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to keep doing the cat-a-corner one. Same as what we were doing before, even though we've already got it secure. Okay, I'm just going to pop this down. It's just a good way to ensure that you keep things straight and even, right? So now we're going to put a little glue on this one and make sure it's up, pulled tight and across. This won't matter because we're going to be covering that up anyhow. So that part's not going to really matter too much. Let's get some glue on here and secure. Okay, so all we're doing is securing them into place. We got one more. I'm going to spend my day cleaning super glue off my fingers, peeling it off. Fun day. And last one. Okay, so the hardest part of the hat is done now. Okay, so let's go ahead. One thing you want to do, and I forgot to do this part once I was done, is I want to make sure that those tabs aren't going anywhere, right? So I just want to go around the round and rub each tab nice and tight. It's super glue. It's not going anywhere, but it's better to be safe than sorry, I always say, okay? I'd rather make sure it's right than it being wrong, okay? So there we go. We got that. Okay. The next thing we're going to do, we've got the stem to our flower. Now what we got to do is we're going to line this up with this one, right? And we're just going to secure it. So what I'm going to do, I move this to the side, and I'm going to pull this. And if you didn't notice, this side has a little bit of distress on it, where this is a nice straight. I like the distress look, so I'm putting the distress look up. And all I'm going to do is put my tape on here, and I'm going to take my tape and go around the edge, right? Keep a nice tight edge going. This didn't go on. Let's redo this. Okay, there we go. Now we got tape on it. And keep going. Keep going. Because this is going to secure, so we want a nice secure around all the edges. So that's why I'm carefully going around these edges. I'm going to do the same on the outside. And then we'll fill it a little bit with tape on the inside. Right? I'll show you. So now we're going to go do the outside edge of our brim. Okay? And just, it's round, so you just kind of have to keep pulling and turning it as you go, so that you keep that nice, because you're going straight onto curves. But because your wheel is nicely on there, you can pretty much use that wheel to twist around, right? When I turn it, I just let go of the trigger, which doesn't allow the tape to move as I go around. If I need to pick it up and move it or whatever, it's helpful that way. So we're almost back to the beginning right there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to put some X's here along here so that we've got some middle parts for it to grip onto. making sure that we have a nice ability to grasp onto it. You know what, as far as I'm concerned, tape is not that expensive comparatively. So
I'm sorry.
Siri thought I was talking to her. And so I just like to make sure, I'd rather be safe than sorry with my pieces, okay? Because they're going to stay in my house, and they are decorations, so I need them to look good too, right? And all I'm going to do is make sure that this lines up before I secure it. I kind of laid it into place where I thought it might go. And now we're going to flip it, right? The reason we're flipping this is because now we want to get a nice tight seal on that, right? Make sure all our glue lines have a nice tight seal on them, right? And that's what we're trying to do now, to make sure that we get a nice tight seal so that our hat looks good. Okay, so now that we've got that part done, that's the easy part, right? The next thing we're going to do is put on the rim of the hat. So this is the rim, and it's going to set right along the very edge, okay? So we're going to line it up on the very edge like that, okay? And you might need to adjust a little bit, turn it slightly if you need to, until you make sure you've got it in the right spot. If it's in the right spot, it's going to line up all the way around on the edge of the brim, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our hat to the side real quick. We're going to pull this ring back up now that we know, okay? And we just have to put a line of tape around our ring, okay? So we're just going to do it just like we did the edge of the hat. Is we're just going to pull it around our circle, okay? Try not to get your fingers in the tape. It is very sticky, and you will stick to it. Okay, we're almost there. We're really close. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. We're getting there. One more spin around, I think, and we'll be pretty good. Careful, because this is paper, so you do not want to get stuck and accidentally rip the paper, right? That's not really a good thing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this back down, and we're going to make sure that we get it right. So let's make sure that it's going to line up around. Okay, we need a little bit of a turn. Or maybe okay. There, see how nice and lined up we are on the nice edge? You don't see any of the white along the edge. So now we're good to, let's adjust this lightly over. Pull it over a little bit, can we? Okay, so here's the thing. If it's not on right, the nice thing about doing double-sided tape is you are able to pick it up and maneuver it and move it a little bit if you need to. So I see that we're slightly off on our angle. So I am going to pick it up just a little bit, okay? And I thought we had it right, but there was still white showing. Let's see if we lay it right there. All right, and okay, I got the tape on me again. I want to make sure that it's going to line up good. We just kind of want to, and that's the nice thing about this tape, is it doesn't dry on you fast. You can continue to maneuver and play with it a little bit when you need to. Okay, looks like we're getting there. Okay, so we're just going to go around and make sure that we're good and tight on that edge. Okay, and here we go. Here we go. And so it's just how picky you are, right? So if you're super picky, tape is going to be your best friend because it's going to allow you to do adjustments as you need to. Okay, so you can adjust slightly to make sure that it's going to lay down perfectly. Okay, so now we've got, now it's off just a little bit. I'm okay with that because to me, I like it to be perfect. However, I also like to have the ability to make changes if that's what I so choose to do, okay? So the next thing we're gonna do is our crown wedge, and I kind of want to put it towards this, okay, I don't want it on this side because look, this is, well, let's see if we can get that to go back down. Okay, so that's the nice thing, you just kind of have to go back down if you see that it's not sticking for some reason on your double-sided tape. Sometimes you can just go back and do some adjustments inside and hold your tabs down and go like that. So I'm going to put this one, I think I'm going to do it on this one. So it goes right here. Okay, they did a different one, but okay, so all we're gonna do is we're gonna put this on right here. I'm gonna double side tape it. Okay, so we're just going to put our tape on it, just like we've been doing on everything else. We're almost done, guys. The fun part will be putting the flower together, and we're almost to the flower. It's a little carnation we get to put together. Okay. And I'm going to go like this, make sure I have enough tape on it to cover and to connect. And we're going to bring it in, and I want it to sit right here. Okay, that's where I'm choosing to install it. I want it so it hangs off just a little bit, right? And then we should have some little dots here somewhere. And I'm looking in my file. Here we go. Little dots to go on there. They're buttons. So we're just going to put our buttons on, okay? So we only have two. I am going to, these ones I'm just going to put a little glue on the outer edge of it. Okay, and where my tweezers go? Get the tweezers because it's got glue all over and I don't want to get glue on my fingers. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put those buttons right here. Okay, and so we just want to cover this circle. And I typically do the cut buttons in a different color, but this time I guess I didn't. So that's okay, we'll be fine. We're not gonna die. It's not gonna be any different. It's still gonna be cute and gorgeous like they always turn out. Right? Just because I like to vary it up. I don't like it to always be the same. So each year I'll make a variation to it, right? So this year I kind of wanted to go color on color. Okay, and then our next thing we have to do okay, so we have two hat band sections. These are our hat bands. Okay, and I'm going to get it like this, make sure they all bend. Because what they're going to do is we're going to bend them and they're going to go around our hat, okay? So we want them to go around our hat. And so here's the thing. I'm going to put these together. Okay, so these have to go together right there. And I'm going to just put a little bit of, hold on, untwist it. I am going to put a little bit of double-sided tape on this little piece right here. Okay. And we're going to connect it right here. Make sure that we got it lined up just right, because if we don't, it's not going to fit our hat. Okay. And so here we go. Is that right? Okay. What we have to do is we have to find and make sure that we line these up with the pieces that were there. Okay. So I'm just going to twist this around. This is simple. I am probably not going to put any more tape on it, but right there, because I like the band to kind of just, maybe we'll tighten it. Let's do that. So we're going to do this. This tab gets tape on this side, because that's where we're going to connect it. Okay, so now we have our connecting tape done. And now I'm just going to kind of run down and put a strip of tape on the outer edge of both sides. Okay, so that'll give us a nice touch to connect it, okay? And then I'm going to flip it and do this side as well. And I think I just taped it down to my board. Okay, and so now let's finish this edge here. Okay, now we have a nice edge, and we just need to make sure that we've got it lined up on correctly. I think it goes like this, doesn't it? Okay, so we want to let that piece sit, because that's where we're going to connect to. We want this down on the base, so we want it as close to the bottom as we can get it. Okay, so now I'm gonna, that's not lined up right. You want your lines to line up right, or else they're not going to bend correctly. Okay, so we want to make sure that we've got it correctly around, and I'm just doing a quick hold on it. I will turn it over here in a second, and we'll do a nice pressurized hold on it once we're off just a little bit. And see, I told you could be off just a little bit, and that little bit's going to make one heck of a difference. Okay, so I just want my lines to match up. Lines match up. Okay, and this one, let me see, we're just going to put it around. Okay, this one we need to loosen up, because we need to put this here just like this, and this can come around. Okay, so now all we need to do is kind of just go around on the outside and make sure we get it secured with your hand on the inside of the hat, so that you're giving it pressure on the inside as well. So when you're pressing them on, and I don't know if I can get this off and adjust it real quick. It's kind of just a little loose, and it's not quite set right. So let's do this, and that's fine. I don't mind if it overlaps a little bit, as long as these sides here match up. Okay, and now I'm not on the bottom edge. Okay, bottom edge. We just need to make sure that we stay on our bottom edge. Okay, that is our main goal, is to be on our bottom edge. Okay, and there we go. So now we have our hat band on in this part. We can make a bow. So let's see our bow. We have, just pull it together like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach this here, right? Okay, and then once we've done that, we'll bring it down like this and we'll wrap this around it, okay? So I wanted color on color, and then just the extra things, the feathers, I wanted to stand out. This part is fine. I don't need it to stand out. It's just fine the way it is. I don't mind having the monochromatic with this particular hat, because this particular hat, right, has a really just a nice way of putting things together. I'm going to put tape on this side of this tab. I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to put tape on this side of the tab, okay? Because then I can bring this back into place, right? Make sure I've got it in place. And then I can carefully lay this right down the middle, and then I just bring it around, okay? And we fold it around, okay? And now we have a bow. And that bow is going to go right here on our thing. So I'm just going to double-sided tape it here, because I want to just leave the main part of the bow so it is not attached. I put extra tape on this so that I'd have ability to kind of hold on to it. I'm going to put my hand inside the hat, because this will allow me to be able to put my bow on and put it into place, okay? And then I just hold it to put my tape in. And there we go. Okay, so that's that. And now the fun part is wrapping this up. And we need to do it around something round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move our hat out of the way so that we can build our flower, okay? Our flower, we're going to start by we're going to roll it around, okay? And so we just have to keep pulling it around like this, right? And so here's the trick, okay? The trick is to get it started, right? So what we need to do is I am going to flip this over, right? Because we need to be able to secure it as we go, right? Okay, so we need to, I'm just going to put some double-sided tape along the edge of our flower. The reason I do this is because it allows me to attach my flower as I go and put it together and still have control, right? I don't necessarily have to tape it or glue it, because this gives me more control of how I put it together. Okay? It got off my edge, so I'll have to fix that. You don't want it on your petals. You want to do your best to try to keep it off the petals as you're putting this tape on. I wish there was an easier way that I could say that this could be done. You can do it with glue if you want. Put a spot glue every 3 or 4 spots. I prefer to put the tape in it just because then I have control of what's going on with my piece, okay? I'm a very big control freak when it comes to my pieces. I want them to be done correctly and right from the beginning. So I start from the beginning. You're supposed to use a dowel, but I don't have a dowel to be doing this with, so I'm going to put it around my super glue bottle, okay? And all I'm going to do is start spinning this around. And I'm trying to get it so it lays down so I get a nice tight fit right there, okay? And as you go, you can kind of bend your flowers as you go. And all we're gonna do is we're just gonna continue to wind this around, right? That's what we're doing as we build our flower. We're going to keep winding it, and I don't know why I have it right side up. It should be upside down, so when I pull, it pulls correctly. There we go. Okay, so we want to keep it as taut as possible, so you get a nice tight roll. It is much better with a dowel. I don't know if... Oh, I have one. Hold on. Let me grab one. It's not a wide one, though. Let's see. That's not... Okay, I think I'm going to put it around this instead. Just because it's a little bigger, round, and I kind of want it to do that. So I'm going to do this. Sorry, it's one of those things that you do it as you go, and some of the decisions you make only happen as you go, right? Because sometimes you have to improvise to make sure that something's going together correctly. So you have to improvise on it. And so that's all I was busy trying to do, was trying to improvise so that I can get this laid out nicely. And I want it to be a nice tight fit, so I'm going to do it kind of slow as I go around. It doesn't take long to put these together. You just have to be patient and do your best to get it lined up the best you can, okay? And it's made to spin around, okay? So that's why it's in the spiral and the design that it is. It allows you to spin it and put it into a circle, and you end up with a very beautiful flower in the end. And I wanted this one to be gold this time, kind of a goldish green. I just accidentally let go of that. Don't let go while you're going, because then you have to re-pull it back. So just keep working it, keeping it tight, keeping it around. Just keep pulling it around. And I hope you can see this on camera. Yeah, you can. So I'm just pulling it around. We're half done. We're almost there. We're going to keep pulling. This is important. I know it's kind of probably a little extra and over the top on the camera, but this part, if you want your flower to look right, is important that you put the time into it. Okay, some of the things you can go a lot quicker. However, these, I wouldn't recommend going that fast, okay? So just make sure you keep them lined up. We're almost there. We're towards the end. We're almost there. Hold on. Okay? Just keep working it around. And keep working it around. Trying to keep it as straight as possible on the bottom. Okay. Okay, we're on this last bend around, and see how that just kind of rolls into place? See how it just rolls into place? And that's what it's made to do. So it just rolls into place like that, okay? So now, okay, now let's see. Fold and curl petals away from the center. And, oh, okay, that's right. You got to do this. So you just kind of pull your... I'm going to take this off of my dowel now, maybe. So all you do is just kind of pull out your petals so that your flower comes through, right? You got to pull them down. Roll them out. Okay, I got this good and tight to this. Now I can't get it to come off. Okay. I might have taped it on there pretty good, it looks like. I'm just trying to pull it off, and what I'm doing is I'm pulling it around and I'm kind of pulling it down as I go. It is loosening it some, but we will fix it here shortly as soon as we get it unconnected from our pen. It's good and tight on the pen. This was not my smartest move, I don't think. I usually just put it on a dowel, and the dowel slides right off. This is not sliding right off. Okay. Let me see. Okay, got it. Finally. Okay, let's see if we can kind of put this back into place. You can take and pull up and pull that inner around a little bit and allow yourself to kind of push it down a little bit. So once you get that done, right, and you've got your flower, now we have this dot that goes on here, okay? And I might have made it too big, so I think I'm going to redo my flower. I'm going to leave the flower right there so that we can see the flower. It's not done yet. I'm going to have to do some adjustments to it because of the way I did the glue. And then I want to see if I can put some of this glue on here as well, because this is not going to stay completely. And this is just a quick drying glue. It's called Squeeze and Roll. 2-way, and it's from Zig Memory Systems. You just put it on like a pen, and you squeeze that center, and you get glue to come out. And so that's the glue that I want to connect that, okay? Because I'm not going to take it back apart. I'm just going to make sure. And the thing is, glitter is really hard sometimes to get something to stick to, so that's why I put glue on it. And I'm going to hold it because I want it to stay. Okay? Once I'm done with that, then I want to put on my I'm going to put my feathers together and put my feathers on. Okay? I got to work on that. That's not going to do what I want it to do. These are our feathers. We have 2 tips. A long one that's kind of bent a little bit, which we can fix. Okay? And it's going to go onto our longer flower right here. So we're going to take and put some glue. We're going to do super glue on this one. Just going to run it down here. And I might put super glue on that flower. That actually might work on the flower better. And then I'm just trying to get this on this top part. Really thin part. Okay. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Okay. Now we'll pick it up with our tweezers. Oh man, did it stick? Okay, it's stuck to the board now. Of course. I might have to recut this piece because I don't think I want to put it back on it. But let me see what it looks like when I get it off. Okay, we don't need that piece. Okay, let's see. See if it looks bad. Let's just put it down here and onto place. Okay, flip it. I don't know that this one is going to work. I'm going to have to cut another one. Gosh dang it. Okay, so this is not normally what I have. I don't normally have these kind of issues with my little pieces. Why I'm having the issue today, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to use my rolling pin and use this glue on it. Maybe. Okay, there we go. Okay, here we go. Okay. The main reason that I typically don't use this one instead of the other one is because this one, even though it's a nice glue, it does take longer to dry. And so it can be rough, and I just put the glue on the wrong side. So now I'm going to have to cut those both. So what I'm going to end up doing is this flower is going to sit right here, and then we'll put our feathers on, and I'll have them so they stick, but our feathers will just slide on here, okay? And we'll have our feathers here, and we will also have a skull that I'll be putting on as well, and I might put some something else on it to kind of make it stylish. So next Wednesday, when we are back doing our next silhouette with me, I will then show you the final one. I like to put them here. Get it off that. So I like to set it up kind of like this. I like the feather, I like the flower right there. The flower will need a little work. I will work on that and get that done. So with that said, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If not, oh, you did not see that. Okay. Give us a thumbs up. If not, feel free to give us a thumbs down, but let us know in the comments section below why. If you want to be part of the Sunset Girl Creates family, we would love to have you. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button down below, and right next to it is a bell icon, and that bell icon will let you know every time I upload a video. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming and enjoying our mourner's hat that we worked on. And with that said, I want to thank you all and wish you all a very happy, happy Wednesday. Bye-bye.